Hey, so let's get started. We've got the 2021 paper 1, and just to go through some housekeeping before we start, get comfortable with all the formulae that you're given. You might not use them all, especially in this paper, but yeah, know they're here. So roots of your function, so your quadratics there. Remember their roots are where your quadratic crosses the x-axis. So that handy equation there is telling you the value here and the value here. Giving you the x value for where it crosses the x-axis. So remember, you've got that. You've also got your sine and cosine rules. We use these when we've got non-right angle triangles and we're trying to find, it's a terrible sketch, sorry, we're trying to find a missing side or a length. And for the cosine, don't forget, the thing with the cosine is you will have to know 3 sides. Maybe you know 2 sides and you're trying to find another side, but the minute you've got 3 sides involved, that's cosine. Okay. Area of a triangle, watch out for that one, where you've got a triangle and you'll be given an angle with the lengths either side. That's where your area of triangle comes in. It has to be the 2 lengths either side of your angle, quite easy on the spot, and you've got your nice volume equations. The only thing you have to remember volume-wise is a cylinder, which is actually this, pi r cubed h. Okay, so it's actually hidden away, sorry, pi r squared h, it's actually hidden away inside the volume of a cone. So really then, you don't have to remember anything except for just a standard cuboid, where you've got length times BDH, something, whatever you want to call it, but the area of the base multiplied by the height, so a standard cuboid prism. And yeah, then your standard deviation. I tend not to use this one, I tend to use this where you make up the little table. So just about housekeeping to get us started. So get comfortable with what these are. They're really helpful when you get those questions because it can be a lot of, sub in the numbers, answer the question, but some people forget that they're there and they're there to help you. Okay, so get comfortable with that. Also, I would suggest you practice some topics individually. Yeah, and then kind of do this to mix up the topics to make you kind of work a bit harder. Yeah, and also when you're looking at your topics, maybe target a few topics you want to do, and don't feel you've got to do everything. You could target a few big topics and then come and do this, or I don't know. But yeah, don't just jump into the paper is what I'm saying. Try and get some skills first, and this should be about you bringing together, all your skills. Yeah. So this is a non-calculator paper, and we've got just over an hour to do it. Okay, so let's get cracking then. This question is no longer in the course, so we'll just leave that out just now. So first question, fractions, just to get us warmed up. Okay, so when we add and subtract fractions, we can add and subtract the middle number first. So what this is saying is I'm going to do 5 take away 1, absolutely, and to that I'm going to add on a half take away 2 sevens. Okay, so don't get confused at this plus. That's basically like saying and. 5 take away 1 and a half take away 2 sevens. Okay. So I put a plus there. If you want to write the word and, I suppose you probably could. But the point is you're allowed to do the whole number separate from the fraction. That is the opposite of when you're multiplying and dividing by fractions, where you would have to make them top heavy first. So don't forget to make them top heavy, times these two numbers together and add the top number. That would come out as 5 over 2. And then multiply these, 28 plus 5, that would be 33 over 7. Okay. So yeah, make sure you make them top heavy first, and then you would cross cancel if you could, and then times the top line times the bottom line. But in this case, we are allowed to deal with the whole numbers separately. In this case, multiply and divide, no. You need to make it a top heavy fraction first. So how do we make fractions? How do we add and subtract fractions? Well, we need to make sure we've got a common denominator. And the best way to do that is just to do your smile. So I'm going to multiply 2 and 14 together. Very good. And then you're going to do your cross. 7 times 1, that gives me 7. And I'm then going to do 2 times 2, which gives me 4. So I've got 7 14ths take away 4 14ths. So that's going to give me 4 and 3 14ths. So I can't simplify this any, because that's a prime number, so that won't go down any further. You could have left it as a top-heavy fraction if you wanted. It would be 59 over 14, so you'd be allowed to say 59 over 14. There's no, that's not wrong at all. You just need to make sure it's as simple as it can be. And as long as it's as simple as it can be, that's fine. if you could divide this and this by a number, that wouldn't be correct. So for example, if you had 28 over 14, no, that's not correct because you can divide top and bottom by 14, that's 2. Okay? So top heavy is okay, but it has to be the simplest top heavy. Only other thing for this is if this comes out as a negative number, don't panic. So say we ended up there with, say it came out as like 4 and negative 2/14, that's okay. We just say, okay, I've got 4 pizzas and I'm taking away 2/14. So what's left then? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3 pizzas left over. And if I've taken away 2/14 from here, I'm going to be left with 12/14 because 12/14 plus 2/14 is 14/14. So I'm taking away 2/14. Take away 2/14. I'm just left with 12/14. Okay, so not part of the question, but I'm just saying that's the that's the bit that can get people. Okay, same with this. So yeah, don't stress about these, but I'm just saying that's the tricky bit that people sometimes struggle with. You get an extra mark for that one. Okay, but yeah, I hope you think that so far so good. The only thing I've talked about is dividing fractions. It's the exact same as multiplying, except first of all we do the keep. We flip this and we change the sign to multiply. Okay, so absolutely, if you can divide fractions, you can multiply fractions. Okay, let's try and do question 6. Sorry, no, question 3. Sorry, I wanted to say question 6. I'm looking at my timer. I've got 6 minutes to go. Right, expand and simplify. So you should be thinking, multiply brackets. That's a nice easy one. So that's going to be 2 times 4, which is 8x, and 2x negative x. So that's take away 2x squared. So that's quite an easy one. It's like someone going into a house, shaking hands. So multiply this term, multiply that term. Okay. The 2 brackets, now some people do this. They multiply, they do FOIL, first, inside, outside, last. I prefer to draw a table because it's nice and visual, and it's just neater for me. I think you can easily spot mistakes on this. This is the way I was taught, and I think it really is just a lot better than FOIL. And now I'm going to group my like terms. So if I break out this bracket, I'm going to end up with 6x squared, and that'll be 13x take away 50. And to that I'm adding on plus 8x take away 2x squared. And then same again, just group your like terms, make sure you get the sign in front of it. So that's going to be 4x squared. Then what else have I got? I've got a 13x and an 8x. So that'll be 21x. And I've just got negative 15 left over. So for this one, you're going to mark starting your expansion and a mark to finish your expansion. So you're kind of like a mark for this, and then a mark for this. Yeah, 1 and 1, and then a final mark for grouping your terms. Okay, so if you didn't know, how to do this bit here, you still got a mark for multiplying that out. That's pretty good, isn't it? A mark for this, putting it together. Yeah. So again, there's marks to be had all the way through the paper. Don't just give up with like, oh, I don't like brackets. But I really would say fractions and brackets, good ones to get some early points in the bag. And a little angle question here. See if I can get through this one. Calculate the shaded one. Okay. But no, I'll do this in the next video.